Hey guys, Tom Wobble back again. Welcome to day 6 in the life of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. This is my last full day with this phone before I do a complete review. After that, I'm going to be chopping over to the Pixel 8 day in the life series. But before we jump into day 6, just want to give a quick shout out to my partner Mint Mobile for their $15 a month unlimited plan. So make sure to check them out in the description below. So on day 6, I began my day at 1 a.m. Pretty much just unplugged my phone and went back to bed. 7.5 hours later, the battery percentages dropped by 10%, and by 10 a.m., phone is at 86%. At this point, haven't left the house yet, just taking care of the baby, do random chores around the house. After that, I watched some YouTube in order to prep for my fantasy draft that is coming up on Monday. This is a relatively light usage day for me. Fast forward to 10 p.m. at night, phone is still going strong at 46%. The best part about having the iPhone 15 Pro Max is you don't need to have to worry about charging your phone overnight when going to bed. Woke up at 2 a.m. to feed my baby. At this point, we already passed the 24-hour mark, heading into 25 hours territory, and we're looking at 42% battery. Next morning, 7 a.m., phone is at 36%, and the battery on this phone is absolutely incredible. I started playing around with accessibility mode. It reminds me of the one-handed use on Android phones. I never found it to be useful. It's kind of a pain to activate half the time, and even when you do activate it, you still have to tilt and shift your hand a little bit. So I like the idea of it. Overall, I prefer to use the phone in its original state versus trying to shrink it down and shrink it back up. I just don't find it to be that useful. It is somewhat helpful for large phones like these, but it's not something I use on a day-to-day basis. Watched some more YouTube in the morning, and then I drove into Boston and back 1 hour each way with GPS on. I do have a wireless charger, but it basically either holds the charge or I gain about 1% or 2% during the drive. Biggest difference between the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the Pixel phones that I've used is on the Pixel phone, it either holds the charge or I lose 1 to 2%. So that tells me that the iPhone chip is just more efficient. Google chip, on the other hand, it runs hot, so it's just struggling just to maintain the battery life, or it starts losing battery life despite being on a wireless charger. 7:30 p.m. mark is when my iPhone finally died. So at this point, we're at about 41.5 hours of battery life on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Almost 2 days under somewhat light and moderate usage as well. And my Pixel 8 actually came in the morning, and I waited all day for my iPhone to die so that I can begin my day in the life series with the Pixel 8. But here we are. Another incredible day, or as a matter of fact, 2 days in the life of the iPhone 15 Pro Max on one single charge. So the trend remains the same. Phone is really efficient. Battery is awesome. I thought I was gonna miss the fingerprint sensor more on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but I find that the face unlock has gotten so good throughout the years. Even at weird angles, it still managed to unlock your face. I remember when I first used the iPhone 10, you would literally need to be straight up, stare at the phone to get it to unlock. But over the last few years, they have updated face unlock. You can use it laying down and at various different angles. And I don't find myself using the pin that often because the face unlock probably worked for me 80 to 90% of the time. If anything, I would argue it is more accurate than the fingerprint sensor on a lot of Android phones I've used. The action button on this phone is too high. I currently have it mapped to my camera, and I've been using Android phone for so long, I keep double tapping the power button expecting to launch the camera, but every time I do that, it just brings up my Apple Pay. Then I have to remember to use the action button, or I can swipe on the lock screen to activate the camera. So little things like that, it takes some adjustment to get used to, especially after using Android for so long. And since the camera hump is so large on this phone, if you don't use a case, you have it on table where you're typing, it does get a little wobbly. Not something that I encounter that much every day. I'm typically either holding my phone or I'm not using it at all. But every now and then, I do notice the wobble if it's sitting on a table while I'm eating breakfast and I'm typing on my phone. And one minor feature that I started to appreciate on the Pixel more with Android 14 is the differentiator between photos and videos. They have it broken down at the bottom into different icons, and I kind of like that. It's just cleaner. If you open it up, you want to take a photo, then here are all your photo options. If you want to take video, here are all your video options. Previously, every other phones in the world that have it all in one bar laid out, Samsung, Apple, video, photo, that kind of go back and forth. But I do appreciate the cleaner grouping with the new Android 14, and I began to look for that even when I jumped to an iPhone after using Android 14. So little UI things like that, it does make life a little bit easier. Although one thing I do wish that Apple do offer is the ability to default the camera back to whatever mode you used last. Maybe there's a way to do it. I just haven't found it yet or bothered looking into it. At least on Samsung phone, I can easily go into the settings, set it to the last action used. So every time I launch my camera, I record a lot of videos. So I like it to default to videos every time I launch my camera. Versus on Pixels and iPhone, every time you launch a camera, it defaults to photos first, and then you have to swipe around, find the video option. So little things like that can save time, but if it doesn't offer it, it wastes a lot of time and effort throughout the day. And I do appreciate the fact that the iPhone 15 Pro Max does come with 256 gigabytes of storage, as it should for a phone this expensive and high-end with all the high-end Pro features. That takes up more storage. I'm glad that they did have the higher standard default storage. Alright guys, those are just some of my final thoughts on day 6. Wanted to fire off some random things. In the next video, I'm going to do a full review of this phone, and then I will be moving forward to my Pixel 8 journey. Please check out day 5 if you haven't already. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.